Okay, this might be the start of part 2. Welcome to part 2, incidentally. This is darthsteve333, back on YouTube. Could be 2 videos in quick succession, might not be. You might never see this part of the message. Anyway, on to continued pickups from the last month or so. Been through car boot stuff, essentially, and we're coming more recent now. This was a charity shop find. Saw this in a charity shop in a local town. Saw it marked down from £5 to £1, and I thought I couldn't walk past. I couldn't leave it there, knowing that I'd seen it for £1. So PS1, been pack tested. It's only the the revised model or second model or whatever. It might even be third model. I think it's actually the third model because the little port on the back there's gone. So anyway, it works. No leads, no controllers, no disc in the system, but £1 just couldn't do it. Okay, so right, the next thing was something I found advertised on, could be Gumtree, could be Free Cycle, could be one of those. Basically saw an advert for a selection of PlayStation 1 games. They're asking 20 quid. Something in particular took me fancy, and I thought it's worth a bit of a gamble. So went for it, got in touch. They very kindly posted it for me, so it was £20 all in, posted. They duly arrived, extremely well packed. I've got some of these already, some of them I haven't. Some of them will be upgrades. So here they are. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 PlayStation games for 20 quid. Makes them about £2, £2.25 each. Can't grumble. So here they go. Music 2000. And it's got to be said, each of the games are in cracking condition. You know, manuals, discs are flawless. So this goes for all of these really. I've sort of polished up a couple of little scuffs on 1 or 2 of the cases, but yeah, they're great nick. So couldn't praise the lady who sold them enough really. So next one was Need for Speed Road Challenge. Platinum, but one I haven't got. This is one I do have. It's a value series one, so this will be a trade. Porsche Challenge, good game. I remember that being quite a budget title in the first place, but it was entertaining. Road Rash, EA Classics, still black label. So if, like me, you're a bit sort of focused on trying to get the black label versions, you could probably still get away with that. I do believe I've actually got the non-platinum, non-classics version of Road Rash anyway, but yeah, nice condition anyway. Next one, I know I've definitely got this. This is Micro Machines version 3. Again, the condition of these are brilliant. You know, manuals, brochures, discs are lovely. So there we go. Next one was one that I haven't got. It is a classics version, but again it's a black label, and it's Midway Classics Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which I remember being absolutely rock hard. I remember, was it Mortal Kombat 3 on there? Was it Kintaro? I could not beat that thing for the life of me. If ever there was going to be a time where I would throw a controller at the wall, it would have been then. I don't think I've ever been so frustrated by a game. I must have been on it for hours trying to beat that damn thing. Never managed it. So let's see if age and experience has improved my chances. I would seriously doubt it. So pleased to pick that up. I should give it another go, because I think my favourite was Mortal Kombat 2. Very good game. Right, next one, Moto Racer World Tour. Again, one I haven't got. Looked like it had a competition to win a Yamaha 1300 XRJ on there. Again, brilliant condition. And the last one is the one that I picked up as a bit of a gamble, or the reason why I picked up the whole bundle as a bit of a gamble. They listed all the games that were in there. This was amongst them, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. The last game was Final Fantasy VIII. I was very pleased because they hadn't put photos up, so like I say, hell of a gamble on my part. Didn't know if it was Black Label, didn't know if it was Platinum. Should have really asked. Should have asked if it had the manuals. In fact, she might have mentioned games with manuals. Can't remember honestly. But anyway, this was why I picked it up. It arrived. This isn't actually the one that came. The one that came is actually in my cupboard with the rest of my Final Fantasy games, and I was overjoyed because the discs, if anything, were even better than my existing version, which is this one. And the discs are beautiful in this. You know, not a mark on them, or you know, the very, very lightest of light scratches. But the one that actually came in the post with the rest of those games was as if you'd just taken it out of cellophane, and it had the manual. So that actually now completes my Final Fantasy collection again. After all these years, I've now got all of my PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy games, barring Final Fantasy Origins, which I'm still looking for, but I'm a bit reluctant to pay sort of £25 plus for it. I probably will end up doing it unless I'm really, really lucky and manage to find one. But yeah, that'll be added. But everything else, certainly the Final Fantasy 7, 8 and 9 that I used to have back in the day that I had to trade in, the collection is now once again complete. So that makes me a very happy bunny. So that made it very, very worthwhile. Right, coming to more recent times. This is 3 out of 4 GameCube games I picked up yesterday. 2 of them I found in a charity shop on my lunch, and 2 of them I found on the way home. The charity shop ones, first one was Resident Evil for the GameCube. Picked it up because I couldn't remember if my copy was pre-owned, excuse me, whether it was pre-owned or whether I bought it brand new, because I remember getting it when I originally got my GameCube, which is something I held on to. Held on to that and Resident Evil and my Rogue Leader game, which was traded, so I couldn't remember. Anyway, turns out the one I bought was new, so this is in really good nick anyway. The only flaw with it is the disc is a little scuffed on the sorry, the disc case is a little scuffed on the outside, and the little tab at the top there is got a little chunk out of it, so this disc only sort of rests up against it, so you know, it swings about. But everything else is lovely. Manual's nice nick, the discs are in lovely nick. So yeah, that was 99p. Couldn't leave it there, even if it was in worse nick than that. And the other one was one that I've already filed away, which was Defender, also for the GameCube, which again I thought I'd actually got, but you know, I must be thinking of my first version of the collection, because as I say, I had to call a great deal of my games to pay the vet bill all them years ago. So anyway, got that now. That's lovely condition, mint. It's with the rest of my GameCube games. In the evening, stopped by the local cash converters, crack converters, whatever. Got talking to the chap in there when I picked these particular 2 games up, which were Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This is again my old copy, which is in slightly worse nick than the one I picked up, which is filed away. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, again slightly worse nick than the one I picked up yesterday, which is with the rest of my GameCube games. They were $1.99 each. But I got talking to the guy in there, friendly chap, talking about games and the like, and he says, "Oh, if you like your GameCube games, you know, you just missed out on a few." About literally not 10 minutes before you got in here, I was like, "Oh yeah." I says, "What did I miss?" He says, "Oh, there was about 5 or 6 good ones." He says, amongst them there was, I think, Mario, Sunshine. There was Eternal Darkness, which also he mentioned to me. Apparently, has been remade or rebooted for the Wii U, which sounds pretty interesting. He said that apparently they let that slip by accident at some event or the other recently. So yeah, we had a chat about that. What were the other games? There was another couple of good ones that he mentioned, but also amongst them, and I know I've got it already, but it would have been one hell of a find, and I'd have probably been able to pick it up for £2 or £3. It was Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes. So my guess is that it's either gone to a collector, or it's more likely probably gone to a reseller. So that is probably up on eBay as we speak. So for 10 minutes, eh? Never mind, you win some, you lose some. Okay, back again. Slight jump in recording there. My wife arrived down from work halfway through, but I also discovered that she'd sent me a text message on my phone, which sort of cut the video off recording. So I'm going to repeat myself on some of this, but you won't have seen it anyway. So anyway, car boot sale, the big one near me, had its first one for a few weeks, so quite by more luck than judgment or planning, I woke up very early, Sunday just gone, went to the car boot sale, got there for the starting time, the earliest point at which they let people in, which is 6 AM. They let the sellers in at 5:30, I believe, and the sellers in at 6. So anyway, got in there. I was in there literally no longer than 10 minutes or so. Found a guy selling retro games. There seemed to be big gaps in his display, and I thought, I wonder if he's put all of his stuff out. It turns out he had. Got chatting to the guy. Picked up this from him incidentally, Road Rash 3 for the Mega Drive. No manual, case is battered. It's one of his doubles basically. He's a collector too. But yeah, got chatting to him. And I says, looks like you've got some gaps there. He says, yeah, we pretty much cleaned out already. I says, oh yeah. People just buying up enormous bunches of games. He says, yeah. I says, oh, there'll be resellers then. He says, yeah, most likely. And I says, they must have got in here pretty early, I must have just missed them. He says, you're joking, mate. He says, they were in here before I was. Which sort of makes you wonder, because there was certainly no other stall selling retro games in the entire car boot. So makes you wonder if they sort of get in there on the pretense of being a seller, just to get in early, get to the bargains, clean up, hoover everything up. I don't know, but certainly from my point of view, and I have mentioned this before, it really sort of demotivates you, because there's people such as myself and all the other YouTubers that post their finds up on YouTube. They want to play the games. They want to play the games. They want to keep the games. They want to sort of preserve the games. And then you've got these bastards who basically come around, just hoover everything up because it's a game, and then whack them all on eBay for the highest possible price. And obviously, some people with presumably more money than sense will pay the prices that they charge, and until we reach a point where people sort of draw the line and say, hang on, I'm not paying that for a computer game, it will just keep continuing. So personally, I hope the arse drops out of the retro game selling market, sooner rather than later. At the end of the day, I'm into it because I like playing the games, I like preserving the games. Anyway, that's my little rant out of the way. So yeah, that was the only thing really that I found from that particular guy. Did find this, which is Batman The Dark Knight Returns, a bit dog-eared, but I used to have that a few years ago, lent it to someone, never got it back. So yeah, that was £1, and the guy that was selling it talked me into buying Batman soundtrack CD in a little tin case. This is the original Batman movie, little bat disc, and a little inlay with photos from the film. It's obviously not a computer game, but could be interesting to people. I liked it. Anyway, like I say, because he gave us Dark Knight Returns for £1, that'd be really not to. So yeah, the only other real sort of old thing I found there was this, completely on its own, on a guy selling all manner of bits of rubbish and stuff. which is basically an Amiga TV modulator, the A520. Now, towards the back end of last year, I picked up an Amiga 500 Plus for about, I think it was about £8 or something. Looked like it had been kept in somewhere damp or whatever, but yeah, put that away. Dug it out because I've watched a few videos which sort of mentioned that that particular model it was prone to batteries for the clock in there leaking. So I took one apart finally the other week. Found, yeah, my battery had leaked. It didn't look like it leaked too badly. It'd gone on a small part of the circuit board, and oddly it looked like perhaps the system had been kept upside down, because most of the sort of signs of the battery leakage seemed to be on the metal shielding. So it sort of worked. Well, it was on the metal shielding, and it looked like it might have worked its way around the edge of the circuit board slightly. Beyond that, there didn't seem to be much damage. It's still not working. I'm trying to teach myself how to repair these things, because it is quite rewarding if you can get something that's not working to work again. And again, it sort of meets my aim of trying to preserve these things, or maybe restore them to life if possible. So anyway, that came without a modulator, and although I've got another one with an Amiga 500 that I have, I thought, well, you know, it could be useful. £2. So the only other thing I got from that particular car boot was there's a guy who looked like he played his games as well as selling them. Picked up 3 PS3 games, Infamous, which obviously I've got via PS Plus, but I'm aware that that only lasts, or what's the word? Your right to play that game only lasts as long as your PS Plus subscription. So there will come a time when either I don't continue the subscription, or possibly, you know, the service ends where I won't be able to play it anymore. So I've got a disc copy now, which is good. Motorstorm Pacific Rift, which is a game I've seen praised on people like Metal Jesus Rock's channel. Quite a good channel if you've not seen it. An American chap who's got a fairly sizable collection, but he also brings in other collectors and goes through sort of pickups and also hidden gems videos, which are quite good. So yeah, he sort of rates that highly, so looking forward to having a go on that. Last PS3 game was Autosport Grid, or Grid Autosport, the limited black edition. Played the other games in the series, liked them, like my racing games, so give that a go. And this was in amongst them, Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo Tales. So as you've guessed, I do like Final Fantasy games. I don't believe this is particularly sought after or, you know, rare or anything like that, but it's just Final Fantasy game, so I'll give it a punt. And besides which, having played the Chocobo racing element of Final Fantasy VII for quite some time to unlock something, if I remember, back in the day, figured it worth a go anyway. So he knocked a couple of quid off that little bundle. I think he was after a £5 each on each of them. So yeah, got them for 18 rather than 20. Which ain't much of a saving, but every little helps, as Tesco would have you believe. So we're getting towards the end now. Last couple of things, just a couple of odd ones. WWE Crush Hour, again, seen it recommended by people on YouTube. Looks like a bit of fun. Wrestlers in stock car type vehicles. Got to be worth a go at £1. And the Terminator Dawn of Fate, which I believe is one of a couple of Terminator games for the PS2. I think this is supposed to be the good one. The other one I think is based on Terminator 3, which is a film that I watched once years ago and basically resolved to try and make myself believe it never existed, because I thought it was such a bad film. Anyway, I think I got the good game anyway, so I will try that soon, and we'll find out for certain. The only other thing I got at the weekend is a guy selling PS1 games. They've got them ranged on a table. They didn't look in the best shape, to be honest, and some of I'd already got, so I asked him how much they were. He said £1 each. Decided to pass, but whilst talking to him, I could see over his shoulder there seemed to be a stack of about 8 other PS1 games in the back of his car, and I says, "Oh, are they more? Or have you not got them out yet?" it, and he says no, they're actually just cases. We haven't got the discs for them. So I was like, oh right. But I did notice one of them was this, which is Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, so just case only. No manual in it, no disc in it, but I do believe I've just got the disc only for that, so I figured that was worth a pick up, 50p. In retrospect, I should have probably picked up the other ones as well, but you know, that occurred to me about 24 hours later, so I think the other ones, nothing particularly notable. I think one of them was Crash Team Racing, again just box, no manual, no disc, but yeah, looking back I should have probably picked that up as well for the future. Anyway, that is pretty much everything regards car boot pickups, charity shop pickups and so on. And now on to the reason why I didn't go to the video game market. And that was because I spent money that I'd sort of kept to one side really for going to the market. I spent it on a new system. This was one I've been looking at getting for, well, 18 months or more, ever since I went to Eurogamer. Played something on demo on it, and enjoyed it, and I thought, oh, I must remember to, well, not must remember to get one. I just thought, oh, I'll get one of these sooner rather than later, or maybe even later rather than sooner. But yeah, anyway, picked it up. It was through my wife's work. Someone had put a message on the intranet or whatever they have there, and it's basically a Wii U. So I've got that set up. I don't think I'll show you the system because you know what a Wii U looks like. It was the black one. The is it the premium version they call it? Not boxed, but in good nick. You know, the unit itself has got a couple of scuffs on it. The controller, the tablet controller, is great nick. I think it's had a screen protector on for most of its life. So yeah, picked that up. First game I picked up for it was Rayman Legends. This was a game that I'd actually played on another demo unit and enjoyed. I just found it funny that you could tickle the bad guys using the screen. Quite innovative, quite good fun. Made me chuckle anyway. So saw that cheap and thought, yeah, I'll pick that up. So got that. The next game I got was Deus Ex Director's Cut. Now I do have this for the PC, the PS3 and the Xbox 360 just because I really love the game, and I thought the Director's Cut, provided I haven't just broken it now, it's got elements of the game that you can play via the tablet. So I remember queuing for a go on that at one of these shows. I think it could have been the Gadget show. It like got a preview build of it. Couldn't get near it, so basically watched over someone's shoulder. Liked the look of it, so yeah, there we go. Picked that up. So yes, I do like that game. The next thing I got is the game which I mentioned a minute ago that I played at Eurogamer back in 2013. When I had a good sort of 20-25 minutes on it with a Nintendo rep next to me pointing out what you needed to do at various points, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it's such an imaginative game. I thought it felt very Japanese, and it was Wonderful 101, which I've started playing, and what a game! What a game! Apparently quite hard to find now. In fact, the way I got that was I was talking to the guys at the computer exchange near to where I work, and I said I was looking for that because they noticed me coming in on every couple of days and just having a look around the Nintendo area. It's only like that big, the shop, but they said, oh, looking for anything in particular? I says, yeah, just said if I could see the Wonderful 101. And they says, oh, well, let me check in the nearest branch, which I'm actually going to tonight. Lo and behold, they had one there. So very kindly brought it back for me. Next day, picked it up, so happy days. So yeah, I know you can get it through the Nintendo store digitally, but if you're watching this, you're probably the same as me in that you like the physical medium much more than the digital. At the end of the day, if all the digital services go down, you've still got the disc in your hand, so provided you haven't wrecked the disc or it's failed in some way, you can still play your game. Anyway, that's the theory. Last couple of things I got was I noticed someone had posted that Argos were selling this for 30 quid, so got that. You know, it's not the special edition or anything. Played the first one, yet to play the second. 2 games for that, you know, 15 quid each, brand new, no brainer. Plus, they had an offer where you could choose from 1 of 3 games and get it for 99p each, so I'll pick that up, and that will be, as you can see, still got the cellophane on. That's going to be a trade fodder, so it just makes that a little bit cheaper still for me. So that's good. And the last thing is a game which was a launch title, and I saw it yesterday when I picked up the GameCube games. And when I was talking to the chap who told me about the GameCube games I'd just missed, he says, "Oh, that's a good choice." He says, "Next time you're in," he says, "give us your Nintendo handle," because I couldn't remember if it was darthsteve333 or just darthsteve, STE333. So he says, "Next time you're in, we'll exchange Nintendo handles, and we can have a game of 2-player on it." So yeah, that was a nice little gesture. So it's on Wii U. So yeah, quite looking forward to having a crack at that. He says it's quite difficult, but a good game, and I do like me zombie games. I love me Resident Evil games, like Dead Rising. So yeah, quite looking forward to giving that a try. So yeah, basically, obviously, laying out the money for the Wii U, I couldn't afford to go to Leeds, couldn't afford to travel there, couldn't afford to buy anything if I got there. So you know, it was a good price for the Wii U. I thought, it still is, I think, considering, you know, there's still anywhere between a couple of £100 and £250 for a new one. I think I figured I did quite well, but obviously it was at the expense of the video game market. So you never know, if they do Video Game Market 3 next year, I might make it back to that one. Did go to the first one, which was great, but it was in a room that big, and about 8,000 people all in there, all sweating and not able to get close to the stalls to actually look at anything or buy anything, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I understand it was much better the second time round. So everyone that went there, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope to join you next time. So it's about time to wrap up. One thing I will mention, I don't know if I mentioned this in my last video, but this came through, so I backed. It's great film. If you've not bought a copy, if you've got any interest in the games industry, this is a great watch. So From Bedrooms to Billions, story of the UK software industry and how it went from bedroom coders right at the beginning to the multi-million-dollar industry it is today. So it's a good watch. I think I might have mentioned it before. The reason I'm mentioning it again is, obviously, as I say, if you've got any sort of interest in that period, it's definitely worth a watch. And they've also got a Kickstarter for one called the Amiga Years, which not only covers the Commodore Amiga, but also other 16-bit systems like the Atari ST, which was the first of the 2 systems I got in the first place. I was predominantly an ST kid for much of the 16-bit era, and then picked up an Amiga later on, which I think a mate had got. He got an ultimate setup for back in the day. He'd got a loft conversion, which was in his entire room, and he got, you know, a proper Amiga monitor. He got an A500 expansion. He got a load of games, and he used to go up there and you just like drool over it. But yeah, I was quite happy with my ST for much of the 16-bit era. But yeah, it covers the ST apparently, covers the Amiga and other systems like the Archimedes and so on. If it's anything like as good as that, it will be brilliant. So yeah, I've backed that. So you know, have a look at their website. If I can remember when I'm uploading this, I'll put a link to the Kickstarter for it. It's yeah, it's got to be worth a punt. Anyway, that wraps it up for today, I think. I think this video will be split into 2, maybe even 3 parts. Had an interruption or 2. I've waffled on for quite some time. On the positive side, it does mean I can put some of these games away now. And hopefully as the weather improves, we'll get a few more car boots that we can visit, and fingers crossed, maybe the resellers won't get to all of the bargains before we do. So fingers crossed everyone, thanks for watching. Apologies once again for the dull background. Like I say, I've got a few things in mind and I might try out, do a test run of it. Whether that works or not, I don't know. You may see me up here again in front of this blank background. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked it, click like. If you really liked it, press subscribe. Unless you're subscribed already, in which case thanks a lot. Anyway, this is darthsteve333 saying cheerio. Bye.